Hello everyone and welcome to this video on monomers and polymers for AQA A-Level biology. So what are monomers? Well, monomers are just small molecular units that can be used to make up large molecules. Now these large molecules that are made up from monomers are what we call polymers. And that's essentially the definition. Polymers are just large molecules made up from loads of monomers. So how does this work? Well, if we have a bunch of monomers, this can be 10, 20, all the way up to 1,000 or more monomers, depending on the molecule. We can take the monomers and we can link them in a series of chemical reactions to produce a large molecule and a long chain, and these monomers are then chemically bonded together and that makes up your large molecule. Examples of monomers include monosaccharides such as glucose, fructose, so on and so forth. These can be used to make up more complex carbohydrates like starch, glycogen, so on and so forth. Another example is nucleotides. So nucleotides can be used to make up nucleic acids, such as DNA, RNA, and amino acids are another example. Amino acids can be used to make peptide or polypeptide chains. The difference between a peptide and a polypeptide chain is just that one is shorter than the other. So the polypeptides are really long amino acid monomer chains to make up your polypeptide, or to make up the polymer rather, whereas your peptide chain is just a small number of amino acids which make up your polymer. So the way this works is, when we want to make a polymer, we need to go through a series of chemical reactions, and these reactions are known as condensation reactions. So essentially, if I give you kind of an example, condensation reactions involve two monomer units in the simplest kind of form, and obviously this will carry on as we add more and more of these monomer units onto the chain. And the H2O group, the OH group and the H group of another OH group of another molecule will react, and that will remove a molecule of water. But in doing so, it creates a bond, and it creates a chemical bond. In this case, the chemical bond is going to be a glycosidic bond. That's because I'm referring to carbohydrates in specific, but the name of this bond and the way this bond is formed, specific groups that react to form this bond, change depending on what monomers are involved. You always have this removal of water in a biological setting, but the specific groups on the molecules that react will be different, and the name that we call the bond will be different. So if we react amino acids, if we react multiple amino acids to form a chain, the bonds between the monomer units, so the bonds between the specific amino acids, will be called peptide bonds. The bonds between nucleotides, so if we have loads of nucleotides being formed, the bonds between them will be called something else, and so on and so forth. So that's just kind of an example of how they're formed. and just to make you aware that they will be called different names depending on the molecules. And you'll find that out later on as we talk about nucleotides, etc. So if we have a polymer and we want to break it down into a monomer, we need to do the opposite of what we did to make the polymer in the first place. So if you remember, with the condensation reaction, we removed a molecule of water. However, what we want to do is add a molecule of water between these monomer units in the polymer. So to break the bonds up, we add molecules of water. And again, this is a series of reactions. This isn't just one reaction. These are just series of reactions that occur, and each bond that's broken requires a molecule of water. And this is what we call a hydrolysis reaction. Hydrolysis. Lysis just means a breakdown of things, and hydro obviously means water. So you can kind of remember what the reaction is called by just understanding what the words mean. Hydrolysis. So that is just the basic overview of monomers and polymers. We'll go more in depth as you start to discover different biological molecules, etc. But in essence, this is all you need to know so far. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.